My name is Lotta Verhoeven, and on the evening of Saturday, May 25th, 2025, I watched my sister Annaliese's wedding implode in real time from my Amsterdam apartment. The live stream, crystal clear on my laptop screen, captured every shattering moment until it froze on a scene of pure chaos. Annalise screaming, Genever glasses splintering across the floor, and my family unraveling before my eyes. They'd insisted I watch online after a bitter fight, as if my presence would tarnish their perfect day. The rage I felt, burning deep in my chest, was unlike anything I'd ever known, a betrayal sharper than any knife. Before starting this story, if you are listening from USA, please leave a comment with number 9. And if you are from another country, please leave the name of your lovely country. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to listen to more stories. I sat alone that night, perched on a worn velvet couch in my small apartment overlooking the Herengracht Canal. The golden glow of a single lamp cast shadows across the wooden beams, and a half-empty bottle of Genever gleamed on the coffee table, its sharp juniper scent mingling with the faint dampness of the canal air. Outside, the soft clink of bicycle bells and the murmur of passers-by drifted through my open window, a cruel reminder of a world moving on while mine stood still. My laptop, propped on a stack of books, was my only connection to Utrecht, where my family had gathered at the opulent Kasteel de Haar to celebrate Annaliese's union with Bastiaan van der Meer. I'd dressed for the occasion, a navy dress hugging my frame, my hair swept into a loose knot as if my effort could bridge the chasm between us. But the truth gnawed at me. They didn't want me there. 3 months earlier, a vicious argument had fractured our fragile bond. My mother's voice, dripping with judgment, had echoed through a video call, urging me to slim down for the bridesmaid dress, as if my body were an affront to Annaliese's perfection. Annalise, ever the dutiful daughter, had sided with her, dismissing my hurt as selfishness. The sting of their words fueled my refusal to attend, but my father's tired plea, "Watch the live stream, Lotta, it's better this way," had guilted me into this solitary vigil. Now, as the screen flickered with images of tulip-strewn aisles and Annaliese's radiant smile, my fury simmered. How dare they cast me aside, only to parade their charade for the world to see? And then, in one heart-stopping moment, the facade crumbled, leaving only devastation and a frozen screen that seared itself into my soul. The rage that consumed me on that May evening in Amsterdam was not new. It had simmered for decades, rooted in a childhood spent in the shadow of my sister, Annalise de Vries, who was 3 years my elder and a beacon of perfection in our Utrecht home. From the late 1990s to the early 2010s, our lives unfolded within the narrow walls of a gabled house along the Udegracht Canal, its brick facade hiding a battlefield of unspoken resentment. Annalise's side of our shared bedroom gleamed with polished trophies and framed diplomas, while mine was a chaotic shrine of half-finished sketches and dog-eared novels. The contrast was a silent accusation, one my mother, Marika, never hesitated to voice. "Why can't you be more like Annalise?" Annalise was the golden child, her every achievement a hymn sung by our parents. She earned scholarships to prestigious schools, her name etched on plaques for academic excellence. At 16, she was crowned Utrecht's festival queen, her smile immortalized in local papers as she waved from a flower-draped float. I, meanwhile, struggled with algebra and spent weekends doodling by the canal, my efforts dismissed as frivolous. Each report card I brought home, marked with modest grades, was met with a sigh and a glance toward Annalise's flawless record. The injustice seared my heart, a slow-burning fury that grew with every comparison. I hated how my mother's eyes lit up for Annalise's triumphs, but dimmed for my small victories, like the time I won a local art contest only to hear, "That's nice, Lotte, but Annalise just aced her exams." Yet, There were fleeting moments of connection that made the rivalry bearable. One spring afternoon, when I was 12, Anneliese taught me to weave through Utrecht's bustling Bloemenmarkt on a rickety bicycle, her laughter echoing as I wobbled. During our parents' brief separation when I was 14, we huddled under a quilt in her bed, whispering fears we dared not speak aloud. Those nights felt like a truce, a fragile bridge between us. But the peace never lasted. Anneliese's perfection was a relentless tide, washing away my attempts to stand equal. By my late teens, her effortless grace leading school committees, charming family friends only deepened my sense of inadequacy. My defiance grew, manifesting in bold haircuts and late-night escapades. Each rebellion met with Mariki's weary refrain, Anneliese would never behave this way. The weight of those years pressed against my chest as I recalled them, the anger as fresh as ever. I had loved Anneliese fiercely, but her pedestal was a prison for us both, built by a family that demanded flawlessness. That childhood rivalry, etched into the cobblestones of Utrecht, was the crucible where my resentment was forged a fire that would flare again when I was cast aside for her wedding, a wound I could neither forgive nor forget. The invitation arrived in February 2025, a heavy cream envelope adorned with elegant calligraphy, its wax seal bearing the intertwined initials of my sister Anneliese de Vries and her fiancé, Bastiaan van der Meer. It sat unopened on my Amsterdam kitchen counter for 2 days, a silent taunt from Utrecht, where my family was consumed by wedding fervor. I, Lotte Verhoeven, 29 and perpetually the lesser daughter, felt a surge of dread at the thought of returning home. When I finally tore it open, a handwritten note from Anneliese fluttered out, Lotte, I'd love for you to be a bridesmaid. Femke is maid of honor. Naturally. The word naturally pierced me, a casual reminder that even in her moment of triumph, I was an afterthought. I called my mother, Marika, that evening, my laptop glowing in the dim light of my Herengracht apartment, the canal outside reflecting the city's restless pulse. The conversation began innocently enough, with talk of tulip centerpieces and Bastiaan's shipping empire, but when I asked about the bridesmaid dresses, Mariki's voice sharpened. They're quite fitted. Lotte, perhaps you could try that diet I mentioned last summer. Anneliese wants everything flawless. The words landed like a slap, igniting a fury I'd buried since childhood. I'm not starving myself to fit your idea of perfect, I snapped, my voice trembling with indignation. This isn't about me, Mother. It's about Anneliese's day. Marika sighed, her disappointment a familiar weight. You always make things so difficult. Anneliese never complains like this. The call escalated when Anneliese joined, her face appearing on the screen, serene yet steely. Lotte, you're turning my wedding into your personal drama, she said, her tone laced with exasperation. If you can't handle the dress, maybe it's better you don't come. Her words were a blade, slicing through years of unspoken resentment. Fine, I roared, my anger boiling over. I won't ruin your precious photos with my imperfect self. Enjoy your perfect day without me. I ended the call, my heart pounding, tears stinging my eyes as I hurled a cushion across the room. The silence that followed was suffocating, the canal's gentle lapping a cruel contrast to my turmoil. 2 days later, my father, Willem, called, his voice heavy with the exhaustion of mediating our family's fractures. Lotte, we're streaming the wedding live for distant relatives, he said softly. You can watch from Amsterdam. It might be easier for everyone. His compromise felt like a concession to Anneliese's demands, yet guilt gnawed at me. I imagined her in her lace gown, radiant under Utrecht's spring sky, and my resolve wavered. All right, Father, I murmured, my voice thick with defeat. I'll watch. But as I hung up, my fury reignited. They had banished me to the sidelines, expecting me to applaud their charade from afar. Little did I know that decision would thrust me into the heart of a spectacle that would shatter their carefully curated illusion. On the morning of Saturday, May 25th, 2025. I woke with a knot in my stomach, the air in my Amsterdam apartment heavy with anticipation and dread. The live stream of my sister Annaliese's wedding loomed, a duty I'd accepted with bitter reluctance. My Herrengrocht home, usually a sanctuary of warm wood and soft light, felt stifling. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, glinting off the canal below, where a lone boat drifted silently. The faint hum of bicycle bells mingled with the aroma of fresh coffee from my stovetop percolator. But these familiar comforts did nothing to ease the turmoil churning within me. I was Lotte Verhoeven, 29, preparing to watch my family's triumph from the sidelines, a role they'd thrust upon me with callous disregard. I chose a navy dress, its smooth fabric a quiet act of defiance, as if dressing for the occasion could mask the resentment smoldering in my chest. My reflection in the antique mirror showed a woman torn between guilt and fury. Guilt for abandoning Annalise on her day, fury at the family that had pushed me away. I swept my hair into a loose bun, the gesture mechanical, my fingers trembling slightly. To make the ordeal bearable, I transformed my living room into a private stage. I draped fairy lights across the exposed beams, their golden glow softening the room's edges. A small vase of crimson tulips, bought impulsively from the Blumenmarkt, sat on the coffee table beside a bottle of Genever, its sharp promise of solace tempting me even at this early hour. My laptop, perched on a stack of art books, waited like a guillotine. As I arranged these details, a restless unease gnawed at me. Annalise would be radiant in Utrecht, her lace gown trailing through the tulip-strewn gardens of Castile de Har, while I sat here, an outsider in my own family's story. The memory of my mother's cutting words and Annalise's betrayal during our February argument fueled a quiet rage. Why should I celebrate a union they deemed me unfit to attend yet? A pang of longing pierced my anger. I pictured Annalise's nervous smile, the way she'd once steadied my bicycle when I was 12. Could I truly turn my back on her now? I poured a finger of Genever, the liquid catching the light, and raised it in a solitary toast. To you, Annalise, I murmured, my voice thick with conflicted emotion. May your day be as flawless as you are. The live stream was set to begin at noon, but as the hour approached, my unease deepened. The link, sent by my father, sat unclicked in my inbox, a digital tether to a world I'd fled. I refreshed the page, my pulse quickening with each failed attempt to connect. Something felt wrong, a premonition I couldn't shake, as if the universe itself was warning me of the chaos to come. On the afternoon of Saturday, May 25th, 2025, the live stream flickered to life, unveiling the grandeur of my sister Annalise's wedding at Castile de Har in Utrecht. From my Amsterdam apartment, I, Lotte Verhoeven, watched with a heart heavy with resentment, my fingers gripping a glass of Genever as the scene unfolded. The castle's garden was a vision of opulence, its emerald lawn framed by crimson and white tulips, a wooden bridge arching over a glinting canal. Towering floral arches draped in ivy cast dappled shadows over rows of velvet chairs, but the beauty masked a simmering tension that set my nerves on edge. My family, the Verhoevens, sat stiffly on one side, their modest attire clashing with the Vandermeer's tailored elegance, a silent divide as stark as a battlefield. Annalise appeared in the bridal suite, her lace gown shimmering, but her smile was strained, her eyes darting as if seeking an escape. Femke Janssen, her maid of honor, hovered nearby, her face buried in her phone, her fingers tapping with frantic urgency. My stomach twisted at the sight something was amiss. The camera panned to Margriet Vandermeer, Bastion's mother, her sharp voice cutting through the chatter as she berated the wedding planner over some trivial detail. "The tulips are too red," she snapped, her diamond earrings flashing. My mother, Marika, stood apart, her shoulders hunched under the weight of Margaret's disdain, and a surge of fury coursed through me. How dare these people treat us like lesser beings, as if our presence sullied their pristine affair? The groom's quarters offered no reprieve. Bastien adjusted his cufflinks, his movements jerky, while his groomsmen laughed too loudly, their Genever glasses clinking. The camera caught Marguerite again, now whispering heatedly to the planner, her gestures sharp as knives. My phone buzzed with a text from my cousin Sana Bastien was plastered last night. Annalise nearly called it off. Big fight. The words hit like a punch, my anger flaring anew. Annalise, my perfect sister, shackled to a man who couldn't honor her even on the eve of their vows. I wanted to scream, to shatter the screen that held me captive to this farce. The ceremony began, the guests rising as Annalise walked down the aisle on our father Willem's arm. Her beauty was undeniable, yet her gaze flickered toward the Vandermeers, seeking approval she'd never needed before. Femke, trailing behind, clutched her bouquet like a lifeline, her phone still in hand. As the pastor spoke of love and unity, the camera lingered on Marguerite's smug expression, her husband Cornelis nodding beside her. My father's jaw tightened, his discomfort palpable next to their arrogance. Another text from Sana Marguerite keeps overriding Annalise's choices. It's a power game. My blood boiled, the injustice of it all igniting a righteous fury. This was no celebration, it was a stage for the Vandermeers' dominance, and Annalise was their unwitting pawn. As the vows approached, a chill settled over me, a premonition that this day would end in ruin, a truth the tulips and Genever could not conceal. The evening of Saturday, May 25th, 2025, turned Castile de Har's opulent reception hall into a stage for betrayal, and I, Lotte Verhoeven, watched it unravel from my Amsterdam apartment, my heart pounding with rage. The live stream, glowing on my laptop, captured the Utrecht sitemap's splendor crystal chandeliers casting prisms over tables adorned with clematis bouquets, a towering stroopwafel cake glistening under golden light. Genever glasses clinked as guests mingled, but the air crackled with tension. Annalise, my sister, sat beside Bastien Vandermeer, her smile brittle, while his mother, Marguerite, surveyed the room like a queen. My fury, already simmering, surged as the DJ announced a surprise orchestrated by Marguerite, a video tribute to the couple. Annalise froze, her eyes betraying alarm, and I gripped my glass, sensing a storm. The screen descended, and a montage began, set to a saccharine tune. Images of Bastien's childhood faded into his university years, where a striking woman with auburn hair appeared Clara Boss, his former lover. Photos showed them entwined at canal-side cafes, kissing under Rotterdam's Erasmus Bridge, and, shockingly, at a tulip festival just 4 months prior. The music shifted to a mocking melody, and gasps rippled through the hall. Annalise's face drained of color, her hands trembling. My phone buzzed with a text from my cousin Sana. Nobody knew about this. Annalise is breaking. My blood boiled. Marguerite had ambushed my sister, and I wanted to shatter the screen in outrage. The final slide flashed Clara holding a sign. Bastien, I'm yours forever. Congratulations. Clara. The room fell silent, then erupted. As if summoned, Clara strode through the hall's double doors, her crimson gown a defiant blaze against the pastel decor. Bastien, darling, she called, her voice cutting through the chaos. Annalise stood, her voice raw. You've been with her all along, Bastien stammered. It's over. Annalise, mother, why Marguerite rose, unrepentant. Clara Boss is from a family of tulip exporters, a true match for our legacy. This marriage was a mistake. My mother, Marika, leapt to her feet, her voice quivering with indignation. You planned this humiliation. My daughter deserves better than your schemes. Marguerite sneered. Your daughter is a teacher, hardly fit for our world. Bastien's prenup protects our wealth. Annalise's head snapped up. Prenup, you hid a prenup from me. The revelation ignited Annalise's fury. You liar, she screamed. yanking the diamond ring from her finger and hurling it into a Genever fountain, where it sank with a splash. Bastien ducked as she grabbed a bottle from the head table, dousing his tailored suit with amber liquid. "You're a fraud, and I'm done," she roared, her voice echoing. Floris, Bastien's brother, lunged forward, shouting, "That ring's a Vandermeer heirloom." He collided with a waiter, sending a tray of glasses crashing to the floor in a symphony of shattering crystal. My father, Willem, shoved Floris back, bellowing, "Don't touch my daughter." The stroopwafel cake wobbled, then collapsed in a sticky avalanche, splattering guests. Clara laughed, a sound like breaking glass, and I wanted to scream at her audacity. Annalise turned to the camera, her tear-streaked face fierce with defiance, as if speaking to me. Her gown shimmered, torn at the hem, a symbol of her shattered dreams. The live stream froze on that image, her anguish. The wreckage behind her and my rage consumed me. How dare they break her like this? I slammed my fist against the table, the injustice searing my soul. The night of Saturday, May 25th, 2025, bled into Sunday, and I, Lotte Verhoeven, sat frozen in my Amsterdam apartment. The live stream's final image of my sister Annalise's anguish seared into my mind. Rain lashed the windows overlooking the Herengracht Canal, its rhythm a relentless echo of my racing heart. My laptop screen, now dark, mocked my futile attempts to reconnect with the Utrecht wedding that had collapsed into chaos. I dialed my parents, Willem and Marika, then my cousin Sanne, but each call went unanswered, swallowed by voicemail. My messages piled up, unread, and a suffocating dread gripped me. Had Annalise crumbled under the weight of Bastien's betrayal? Was my family safe? The silence was a torment, amplifying the rage that burned in my chest at the Vandermeer's treachery. Desperate for answers, I opened social media, only to be assaulted by a deluge of clips from Castile de Har. Guest-uploaded videos spread like wildfire, capturing Annalise, hurling the ring into the Genever fountain, the stroopwafel cake's collapse, and Clara Boss's brazen entrance. Hashtags branded my sister a scorned bride, her pain reduced to viral fodder. Comments mocked her tears, some calling her unhinged, others pitying her naivety. My blood boiled at the injustice. How dare strangers feast on her humiliation, orchestrated by Margriet's cruel ambush. The Vandermeer's wealth couldn't buy their way out of this, yet I felt powerless, trapped by distance and a screen that had betrayed me as much as Bastien had betrayed Annalise. At 1 a.m, my phone buzzed, Sanne's name flashing. "Lotte, it's worse than you saw," she whispered, her voice trembling. After the stream cut, Floris, Bastien's brother, tried to stop Annalise from leaving. Willem pushed him, and it turned into a brawl. Police came, no arrests. But the Vandermeers are spinning lies. My fury surged, a white-hot blaze. What lies I demanded, my voice shaking. They're telling everyone Annalise had a breakdown, that she attacked Clara in a jealous rage. They're painting her as unstable to save their reputation. I clenched my fist, nails biting into my palm. The audacity of their gaslighting was unbearable, my sister. Broken by their schemes, now slandered as the villain. Sanne's words fueled a resolve I hadn't known I possessed. I couldn't stay in Amsterdam, watching from afar as my family was torn apart. "I'm coming to Utrecht," I said, my voice steady despite the storm within. I booked a train for dawn, my mind racing with images of Annalise's tear-streaked face, her gown torn, her dignity stripped by those who should have cherished her. The Vandermeers had underestimated us, but I vowed to stand by my sister, to expose their deceit. As rain battered the canal, I packed a bag, my anger a beacon guiding me home. This was no longer about a wedding, it was about justice, and I would not let Annalise face it alone. By June 2025, I, Lotte Verhoeven, stood in Utrecht's cobblestone streets, the Oudegracht Canal shimmering under a summer sun. The chaos of my sister Annalise's wedding had left scars, but it also sparked a reckoning. Arriving at my parents' gabled home at dawn on May 26th, I found Annalise crumpled on the porch, her eyes red from tears. I dropped my bag and enveloped her in a fierce embrace, my heart aching yet resolute. "I'm here," I whispered, my voice thick with conviction. The Vandermeers' betrayal had ignited a fire in me, and I vowed to help Annalise reclaim her dignity. Our family's dining room became a war room, its oak table buried under legal documents. I had saved the livestream recording, a damning chronicle of Margaret's ambush and Clara Boss's intrusion. My father, Willem, consulted a lawyer friend, while my mother, Marika, fielded calls from concerned relatives, her usual perfectionism softened by guilt over her past favoritism. Annalise, once the golden child, spoke with a newfound clarity. "I was blind," she admitted, her voice steady. Bastion's family molded me into their puppet. Her confession bridged years of distance between us, and my anger at our past rivalry gave way to a protective resolve. We met with a divorce attorney in July, a sharp woman who reviewed the footage with a steely gaze. "Ms. De Vries," she said to Annalise, "this evidence exposes their manipulation. We'll demand a settlement for emotional distress." In August, we faced the Vandermeers in a Utrecht law office. Margaret's icy composure faltered as Annalise, no longer their pawn, presented her terms a public apology, her teaching job reinstated, and wedding gifts donated to a women's shelter. "I don't want your money," Annalise declared, her voice unwavering. "I want justice." My chest swelled with pride, my fury at their arrogance now tempered by her strength. After hours of negotiation, they relented, their reputation too fragile to withstand the truth. By November, Annalise had moved to Amsterdam, renting a sunlit apartment along the Keizersgracht Canal, a stone's throw from my own. She resumed teaching at a progressive school, her classroom adorned with children's drawings, her brown hair freed from the blonde Margaret had favored. We established a Sunday dinner tradition, sometimes cooking stamp pot in my cramped kitchen, other times savoring bitterballen at a canal-side cafe. One evening, as twilight painted the water gold, Annalise raised her glass. "To disasters that save us," she said, her smile genuine. I clinked my glass against hers. "To sisters who find each other in the wreckage." Our laughter echoed, a sound I hadn't heard since our childhood. Marika called weakly, her voice softer, acknowledging the harm her expectations had caused. Willem became Annalise's fiercest ally, deflecting relatives' doubts. Annalise declined a date with a kind colleague, saying, "I'm rediscovering myself first." I nodded, understanding her need for time. The Vandermeers faded into irrelevance, their empire tarnished by their own deceit. My role as the family's outcast dissolved, replaced by a bond with Annalise forged in fire. This story of betrayal and redemption offers a profound lesson sometimes. Life's most painful collapses are the catalysts for true liberation. In a society often obsessed with perfection, whether through social media facades or familial expectations, Annalise's journey reminds us that authenticity and resilience triumph over superficial ideals. Her courage to reclaim her identity and our renewed sisterly bond reflect a universal truth from the ashes of heartbreak. We can forge stronger, more honest connections, embracing our imperfections, as Lotta and Annalise did, allows us to find peace in a world that demands flawlessness. This story is a work of fiction created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to attack or defame any individual, family, or organization. Any resemblance to real persons or events is purely coincidental. If this story moved you or sparked a thought, please let us know by commenting below. Your likes, shares, and subscriptions help us create more stories that inspire and entertain. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching and being part of our community.